This is the 5th day of write a book in a week. Write a book with me. Awesome. No, it was just a helicopter. It sounded like a big Huey helicopter or something like that. Woo. Hey, how you doing? You made it. You guys made it. I made it too. This is the 5th day of write a book in a week. Write a book with me. Awesome. Feeling great. Yesterday was kind of like a dark period for me. It's like, and then I shaved. The sun's still here. Last November and December, it was cloudy every day and cold. And I was dressed up with usually a windbreaker on top of this. Dispel this. Okay, so this is a book. This is a book in a week, and going through every stage of a book, of writing a book. I even went through the dark stage yesterday. Check out those chapters. And then what's so cool about this is, and then like yesterday I was thinking, well, what about people who just come across this video? Maybe this video might rank high, especially because, this is the last day, right? The ending. The ending is what counts, right? It's what matters. And then to just, you gotta, to come up with ideas, you have to go in all different directions at once. You can't be afraid of that. You have to be fearless. That's my fearless face. All right. My shave is throwing me off today. All right, so not really a whole shave. So this is a book in a week. I just turn on the camera, I talk into the phone. I've got notes. Today I spent like at least half an hour. It was 45 minutes with interruptions. But I did I made up 6 index cards. I've had too many index cards in the past couple days. There were like 10 yesterday. My fingers started getting tingly later. So I'm trying to, just lay off the index cards for a while. So this is a book about how to become a writer, how to become a third level writer, a 3.5 level writer, and finish a book. And so you'll actually be, if once you finish your book, you're like, you are the, what's the word I'm looking for? People are jealous of you because you finished your book. Only 1% of aspiring writers finish their book. That's an amazing failure rate. 1%. You got to get into some very specific professions and rewarding professions. Much more rewarding professions. The average writer makes like $500 off their only published book. So you gotta find ways to make money. And you can make money as a writer. And, if you self-publish your own books, a book a week, write one book a week, publish it, sell it, you got 50 books, you're doing well. You have 50 books in your catalog as a self-published author. Just 1 year. If you start writing one book a week. So the reason I lower the expectations is online I can't get into the, like on YouTube, I can't tell you everything that's going on here. I am doing all the things that go into a book. I just can't tell you everything. I can't draw attention to each thing. Otherwise, it would get too complicated and people just wouldn't watch. Strange. It's a strange formula, a strange equation. This is chapter 17, a book in a week on how to become a writer, using the story pattern. And then what needs to change? This is, you need to change your idea of what a reader is. And so I'm just thinking ahead. There's other topics on this card. And I've got these other cards that have many more topics, right? And so I'm trying to organize these. So when you speak off the cuff, you tap into that story pattern, because you'll describe the opportunity, and then the evaluation, and then the assessment, what matters the most. And you'll do that just naturally. And in fact, a little preview up ahead, you'll get into arguments to satisfy the needs of the story pattern. Because this story pattern is around you all the time. Every second of every day, you are thinking about what the situation is and making connections to it. I'm going down the street. There's cars. There's cars over there. Well, there's grass in between. But they can get loud at times, right? Okay, so your reader is actually a writer, because just like you, your readers are observing the situations they're in, and then they're making connections every second, right? And they're thinking about what matters the most every second. So don't write boring stories, and don't think any part of the story is filler. And then we're not going over like connections between individual thoughts and larger arcs so much. We are, and like I said, I'm teaching at the 11th level here. Okay, I'm aware of many more questions that structure any story, anything that sounds like a story. It's not just it's, you talk to people, and it's strange how these stories happen. They tell you about their job or what opportunity they have to make money, right? They brag, they complain, right? They talk about their role in it, whether they're smart, they've gotten cheated, and so on. And then they talk about what matters the most. What matters the most is the job does pay. It pays the bills, and we're just clawing our way along to the next opportunity. This is fun. And I was so, I was getting scared. I admit it. I was getting scared yesterday. How am I going to justify bringing aspiring authors up to the point where most aspiring authors don't get? Most aspiring authors don't get to the end of their book. They don't get to chapter 17. My chapter 17 was so bad. I had to reread it, take notes on it. I tried to I wrote it, and then I cleaned it up some, and then after a couple drafts, I realized chapter 17 has to be totally rewritten. And so I tried changing sentence by sentence. Couldn't do it. Fear, right? Yeah, and it was yesterday that I was feeling that fear. So this fear, chapter 17 isn't working at all. And so I had to take notes on my own chapter and write it afresh from the notes. But the notes were so detailed, I think it took a month. I'm writing this book in a week, and chapter 17 of my young adult superhero book took a month. Of course, I only write like 2 hours a day. So it's kind of the same rate. I guess that would be a 4-week chapter. No, it's still just a chapter of a book. This is a whole book in a week. I'm holding on to these. I'm holding on to these note cards too long. Let's see. What stayed in readers as writers. Wait, let me read this. Oh, so you'll get into arguments to establish it, and something goes deeper, and you will not start something new. What? I don't even remember I can't even figure out my own notes. Anyway, so chapter 17 is what needs to change, and what needs to change. So you need to realize this is the end of the book, and changes have to happen. And sometimes you have to rewrite that chapter 17. Hey, that's awesome. And I think I skipped over the chapter 17 description earlier. I just previewed it. Oh, which is a preview for something I learned last night. I'm being programmed by AI just like you. If you're here, AI probably brought you here. So Zeigarnik, the Zeigarnik effect. There was some YouTuber, I forget her name. If she contacts me, maybe we can work something out. But I'm being programmed by AI, and if you're here, you're being programmed by AI. But I think it's a good AI, because the AI sends me all these great philosophers that help me attack the story pattern, explain the story pattern, to get out of the violence part. Yeah, so the Zeigarnik effect is the next chapter, chapter 18. Thanks for showing up. See you then.